intersection of fintech and HRTech lies Entitled.co, a platform dedicated to simplifying and enhancing the well-being of blue-collar workers. Hi, welcome back to Follow Startups. I'm your host Ankita Bhava, and joining us today is Mr. Anshul Khurana, the co-founder of Entitled. With a career spanning over a decade, Anshul has demonstrated his expertise in building new products and businesses from the ground up. And driven by a relentless passion for empowering the workforce, Anshul and his team are leading the charge in creating a more inclusive ecosystem for those who need the most. Hello, Anshul. Welcome to Follow Startups.
Thank you so much, Ankita. Pleasure to be here, and hello to your audience as well.
It's a delight to have you here, Anshul. Now, to kick this off, could you please tell us a bit about your background and what led you to start Entitled.co?
Sure. So like you said, I have a career now spanning about 13, 14 years. Started back in 2009 in Delhi with Ernst& Young. Did that for about 2 years, moved on to a very interesting organization called India Infrastructure, which does, reports and other journalistic stuff in the infrastructure sector. Very interestingly, was part of building out a new product there, something that I worked on from scratch. Conceptualized it, built a subscription tool where the infrastructure sector people could get more information and analytics on the sector. So conceptualized it, led it, sold a few subscriptions before I moved out. That was really my first experience of building something from scratch and doing an end-to-end cycle. From there, went on to Indian School of Business to do my MBA. Started with housing.com. After that, a very similar role to what I was doing with India Infrastructure. Though this was in the real estate sector, housing had just acquired something called the Indian Real Estate Forum. I was in charge of that portal and bringing that up to scale and leading the charge on that. Did that for a very short stint. Post that, got an opportunity to be in the startup world. Came in to be a co-founder and CEO of an entity called Grand Resource Factory. It was a company in the personnel space. So we dealt with a lot of home service staff. We also dealt with a lot of blue collar staff and facility management, staffing, etc. Built that organization over a period of 3 years, 3.5 years actually. Took that to about 1,500 odd people in full-time payroll, but also got a lot of experience and understanding of the blue collar sector. What are the kind of issues that organizations face when they're dealing with workers, but also what are the kind of issues that workers go through on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of what we did with that entity gave us the thesis of what we are trying to do or build at Entitled now. Been building Entitled for about 4 years based on a lot of learnings that we had from the previous entity.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, coming to Entitled, paint us a picture of what Entitled.co is exactly and what it aims to achieve.
So Entitled is an inclusion ecosystem that caters to urban low-income workers. So think of your delivery rider that is coming to for quick commerce or delivering food to your place. Think of an electrician or a plumber that is coming to your house, right? So a lot of people on the gig side of it, but also workers who are on the manufacturing floor, work with courier companies or logistics companies, work with BFSI. So anyone coming to your home for doing a KYC, for example. Look at all of these workers, they have extremely limited access to formal financial products in the market, right? When we talk about access to loans, access to saving products, insurance, etc., is extremely, extremely limited. What we are trying to solve for is for that large market to have access to formal financial, but also health products. The idea with health products is a lot of sort of damage that a lot of these workers go through comes out of health issues for them. So in order to improve their financial lives, we thought health was an important category. So what we are trying to do is improve the financial well-being of all of these categories of workers and ensuring that they are able to live a better life and thrive. It's a model that does multiple different things with entities. So I'll come into a model separately, but at the core of it, we're building the ecosystem for workers to get access to formal financial and health services.
It sounds like that you're filling a very significant gap in the market. Kudos to that. So, how do you describe your primary target group and what specific needs are you addressing for them? You said, financial and health problems.
Yeah,
So, how
yeah,
can a blue collar worker avail those services, and how do you,
sure.
just make those workers engage to your platform?
We're building a complete ecosystem, which means in terms of the access that workers get in financial services, we're talking about access to a personal loan, a micro loan, which is a smaller amount of a personal loan, but personal loans, consumption loans, two-wheeler loans, education loans, home loans, emergency savings, right? That is sort of what we are trying to cover in financial and in health. What we're trying to do is enable access to primary and preventive care at an affordable cost, at least a basic quality, and then insurance, and then medical financing or any other kind of medical supports that they might need. So the idea is to look at it as a vertical layer of inclusion products that any worker might need access to be able to live a better life. And so our focus is not on a singular product, but building a platform that can help in different times of the lives of the worker. So the way we engage or onboard workers is that we partner with entities or employers that deal with blue collar workers in reaching out to them. So a typical example could be to work with a gig platform, the likes of Swiggy. We could go and work with a staffing company, or we could work with an employer who has security guards, who has manufacturing workforce, etc. Essentially we go to them and say that, listen, you have a large ecosystem of workers that currently are underserved and are constantly struggling. Why don't you enable access to these people to us, and we will create access to all of our services to them, right? So what these entities typically will do is embed access within their ecosystem, so that workers can come to know about us, and these platforms will create awareness. So Swiggy will tell their Swiggy riders, hey, we've tied up with Entitled to enable access to a loan for you, right? Or a security agency or an organization will tell them, hey, we've embedded or onboarded Entitled. Now all of you can access a loan with Entitled, right? So workers come to know about us from their internal ecosystem. It ensures does a bunch of different things for us. One, it ensures that the messaging to them is going from a certain level of trust and respect that they have, because it's via the employer and platform. They know that we will not take them for a ride. One of the issues with financial services is that trust is very, very important. Right. And coming from an employer, it ensures that, we're going to be fair to them and they understand that. Also, the third thing that employers or platforms help us do is enable a layer of information that is internally available to them, to us, right? So the moment someone comes to us, we know how long they've been with the current platform, what are they earning, what are the kind of jobs that they're doing. And essentially, we use that information to then be able to enable access to them. How they come to us is once the employer has created awareness, they come and join us on WhatsApp. Right, they come on board to us on a WhatsApp ecosystem. They will just say hello or write their employer name, and they will get an onboarding message. Right, and from there on, all the access that we enable to them happens within WhatsApp in a multilingual format, without them having to download any separate app, etc. So anytime they need a loan, they just message on WhatsApp, go through a process that is built there, and at no point do we send them out of that WhatsApp ecosystem. Everything will happen within that. The disbursal of a loan will be processed from there. An insurance policy will be sent there. Any supports that they need can be enabled there. So we've built this ecosystem where all of this access is enabled to them.
No, that sounds wonderful. Anshul, would you like to share the names of some of these entities, some organization that use
Sure.
Entitled?
Sure. So classic examples could be Swiggy. Swiggy riders are on our platform. If I were to look at other gig platforms, Zip Electric is a client. Let's Transport has truckers that access services with us. If we were to look at staffing side of it, Quest, India's largest staffing entity, we are embedded with them. So all of Quest's employees or workforce can access loans with us. And then if we look at employers, there are the likes in F&B. So Domino's works with us, Rebel Foods, Nando's. These are all entities that we're associated with. If you look at the other side in employers, SIS Group, which is India's largest security and facility management company, works with us, has about 2 lakh people that access loans with us now. So we're on all different sides in terms of the employment association that there might be, but we're working with the largest entities in all of those spaces and a lot more. We've potentially about 70 entities are associated with us, have access to about 1 million people that access different services across the ecosystem.
Very impressive. That's a good number. And besides that, are there any particular business metrics or numbers that you are proud of and would like to share with the audience?
Sure. So, I mean, we've processed transactions worth about 120 crores now.
Wow.
Enabled about 350,000 people have accessed a service with us. This could be a loan or getting access to a health plan. I think one of the things that we are really proud of is the fact that about 40% of the people who access a loan with us are accessing the formal financial market for the first time, and a similar number of people who access any health services with us are accessing any formal health services for the first time, right? So almost 50% of our entire base had zero access or knowledge about the formal financial or health market, and they're getting access to the market via us, and that's probably been the most fascinating part.
That's amazing. And now, as we stand in the present, where would you position Entitled in terms of its current stage of growth?
Sure. So we've built a solid base of people that are on our platform. Ankita, we're growing fairly fast. What we are trying to do from here on is add a lot more products that could be useful for workers that are on our platform already. The idea is to look at what they might need through their life cycle and pick out those events and build products around it. And I'll give you a quick example. What we're building right now is something called a livelihood loan. Right, when people come on board to gig platforms, typically they have to deposit either some kind of money or they have to buy a kit to operationalize themselves on a particular platform. And this purchase could be anywhere from about 10,000 rupees going up to 50,000 rupees. What we are trying to do is build a product where if someone is going to a gig platform and trying to onboard themselves, they have access to some money so that they can purchase that kit, start earning money, and sort of start repaying us along the way as well. So what we're trying to do from here on is pick out these events and build more products to ensure that a lot more people are able to access a lot more products with us, so they engage with us at different points of their entire life cycle, and we are able to solve more problems for them. So that's going to be our focus over the next few months, just to try and do more and build more products, also for us at the back end monetize more by enabling access to more products to people. But that is the area of focus. The other sort of thing that we're trying to do as well is a lot of our focus in acquisition has been on larger entities. So anyone with 10, 20, 30,000 people going up to 3, 4 lakh people, those are the platforms that we've widely been targeted at. One of the things that we're trying to do now is look at SMEs in terms of onboarding and try to build channels so that we can bring a lot more SMEs into our ecosystem, and along with that benefit workers that are probably even more constrained, from that perspective. So build channels where acquisition of SMEs could happen, and we are looking at working with banks that have large ecosystems of SMEs that they're associated with, and see if we can embed our ecosystem within their ecosystem that's targeted at SMEs, and via that bring a lot more SMEs into our ecosystem. The third thing, and the other area of focus for us is to also now start looking at more unorganized segments and see what is it that we can enable for them. When you look at construction workers, for example, who are daily wage, you look at domestic workers who are completely underserved, right? Those are all segments that we are now trying to enable access to. And we are working with a few developmental agencies, the likes of USAID, and others, to see if we are able to build programs and try to bring a lot of these people into the ecosystem and enable sustainable access to different products to these categories of workers as well.
So, who are some of these development agencies and banks that you are partnered with to provide these loans and all the medical
Sure.
services that you do?
So typically, all of the loans that we enable today happen via our NBFC partners. Our NBFC partners include, so Earthmate is an entity that we are associated with. I2I is a P2P platform that we've partnered with. Incred and Navi are two other entities around loans that we are associated with. If you look at the health ecosystem, we're associated with insurance companies like Acco, Digit, Care Insurance, and some of the others. If you move forward in the health ecosystem, practically all chains of diagnostic labs are partnered with us, the likes of Agilus, Dr. Lal Path Labs, and any other lab across the country is sort of partnered with us broadly in different areas of the kind of work that we are doing. So these are entities that we have already partnered with. We've not had a banking relationship up until now, but that's also because banks typically look at relationships from an extremely long-term perspective, and are very sensitive in terms of IT infrastructure, privacy, and all those kinds of aspects. So working with a bank is something that we are exploring today because of the base of people that we have and potentially the kind of impact that we can potentially have. We are already working with HDFC Bank in building out products for the segment. We're also looking to associate with Yes Bank. These are sort of two banking entities that we are in touch with. But also we've understood that a lot of small finance banks are entities that would be interested in the space. So we're also exploring relationships with some of the small finance banks that we can potentially associate with.
So we have already sort of touched upon the monetization aspect of Entitled, and which makes me even more curious to understand your revenue model, Anshul, given
Sure.
that you provide those services that are both affordable and accessible. Correct. So how
Sure.
does Entitled sustain itself financially? Just share some insights on
Sure.
that.
So there are three ways that we make money. The first is any health access that we are creating beyond insurance. So any sort of primary health services or preventive care services, health checkups, etc., that we enable. There's money that we charge, even though it's extremely affordable. But there are margins that we have built in there. Typically, these services are paid for by employers or platforms that workers are associated with. So an employer would say, I want to do health checkups for all of my people, or I want all of my people to go through a doctor checkup, etc. Right? The money that we charge from the employer and the money that we have agreed to with our backend partnership ecosystem, there's a margin that's sort of built in there. Right? So the first way for us to make money is when we enable anything around health beyond insurance. The second way that we make money is marketing fees that we get from all of the providers in our ecosystem, right? So an NBFC will pay us a small interest margin, and processing fee for each loan that is disbursed. An insurance company will give us commission, which could be between 10 to 15% of the value of the insurance itself. If you're enabling a savings product, we get commissions, which could be range from 1% to up to 2.5%. Right. So anything and everything that we enable, there are commissions or marketing fees that are built into the cost. So this is the money that we make of service partners that we are partnering with, and we bill it to them. We don't charge the worker directly anything. The cost for them is fixed for, and we charge the provider on anything that is enabled via the platform. The third way for us to make money, and something that I spoke about, Ankita, earlier, is working with developmental
Yeah.
agencies, and doing programs with them where we can be an implementation partner or a technology partner. We are currently a part of a program called the Samagra Urban Health Program, which is being done by PSI, where is funded by the USAID. We are an implementation partner for that program, where the program intends to enable access to health services for the urban poor. We are targeted at the same segment. We already enable access, right? So we became an automatic partner for these programs. Similarly, we're now doing a program that is funded by the MetLife Foundation, building new products for the gig segment. We work with CSR funds that are looking at targeting different segments from within our user base. So that becomes the third way for for us to make money. Very interestingly, we very recently done an MOU with the Telangana State Health Department, where the idea is to look at ways and explore how technology could be used to enable health access to gig workers in the state, right? And we want to start doing a lot more of that, working with the government to potentially look at the role that technology could play with workers that are underserved in the state, both at the state level and the central level. Right, those programs have a huge potential in terms of both from a revenue perspective, but just the kind of impact that we can have and the kind of reach that we can have potentially in the future. Right, so these are sort of three ways that we make money and three sources of revenue for us.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And from the conversation that we have had so far, I understand that Entitled is primarily focused on the Indian market, correct? So, do you have any plans to go beyond the borders?
So interestingly, we've had reach outs from the Middle East, from other countries from two aspects. One is there are workers that are based in the Middle East who similarly do not necessarily have access to a lot of the things that we're talking about. The second aspect from which we've had reach outs is that there are a lot of migratory population, right, going from India to outside.
Yeah.
Right. So there are entities that are trying to solve some problems around financial access for people who are working outside, but their families are back home here. And because of that, they need access to sort of financial services in
Hmm.
India as well. So the migrant population is someone that we are doing a couple of pilots around with a few entities that we are associated with today. But on the other side, going outside the borders is something that looks extremely attractive, but it feels like we've so much to do over the next few years
Yeah.
in India. And we've sort of done so little in terms of the kind of market that is accessible to us that it'll still take us a few years to look at the opportunity globally. Though I think it'll still be a massive opportunity because the people in the Middle East, Singapore, there's a lot of sort of blue collar workers in these regions that still do not have access to the kind of things that we're talking about, but we're probably a few years away from that.
Hmm. And while you do that, I'd also like to know about the people that have been supporting Entitled on this journey. Like, who are your investors
Sure.
and how much capital have
Sure.
you managed to raise so far?
Sure. So we've raised about a million and a half, about 10.5 crores to be precise. Some of our institutional investors include the likes of HDFC Capital. HDFC participated in our first round back in around the end of 2021. Some of the other investors include the likes of Let's Venture, Sotheby's, IMA Ventures, and very recently, SIS Group decided that they want a strategic seat at the table, so they came onto our cap table as well. So these are some of the institutional investors that we have. We have a few angels that we are working with as well. Some of my mentors who've been in this journey with me, Mr. Nipun Sahani, who's a partner with Apollo Global, one of the largest real estate private equity firms in the world. He's been with us from the first round, and someone that I can reach out to for all sorts of help if I need. And there are a few other angel investors that are associated with us as well. So this is sort of our group of about 10, 11 investors that are associated to us, split between angel investors and some institutional ones that are
And are
working.
you looking to raise any further?
We're in the process of raising our next round. We're raising about 20 crores in sort of a pre-series A round. The idea is to look at impact investors as a group and see if they'll be interested in participating in this round. We're also potentially looking at strategic capital, something that we did in the past with the likes of SIS Group that gave us access to 2.5, 3 lakh people. That's something that we are open to as well. Bringing in strategic capital from entities that might have a large base of people, but also with banks or NBFCs that have a financial ecosystem that could allow us to put more products together. So 20 crores is sort of $2.5 million is about what we're raising at this point in time. We're in the process of doing that. So a lot of conversations with investors going at this point. Our existing investors will also look to participate and take about 20% of that round, and the idea will be for us to look at bringing in the rest externally.
Yes, that sounds amazing. A lot of interesting things are in the pipeline. And speaking of which, tell me who else is in your core team to celebrate all of these? Are you alone or do you have a
Sure.
co-founder?
So overall, we have a 50-member team now. Interestingly, all of them based across different cities, working across different cities. Some of them work from home. Some of them who decide that work from home is not the most suitable for them are free to go to co-working spaces around their houses and work out of those co-working spaces that we can then pay for. We have a fairly decent team now. I have two other co-founders. So we're a co-founding team of three. Their names are Arpan and Krishna. Krishna is a chartered accountant by profession, handles everything finance for us. And Arpan is an IIT Bombay graduate, handles all of non-credit operations, so everything around health, insurance, and other things. Both of them have been with me on this journey from the very beginning. I know them from before, so we actually worked for a couple of years before we jumped onto the journey of Entitled. So I knew both of them from before, and we discussed the idea and potentially put together the thesis of what we are trying to do together. So they're with us on the journey. We have some other members on the core team. Vasu, who takes care of technology and is the CTO for us, based in Delhi. And then Rajat, who's head of business for us, brings in about 15, 20 years of experience in building business, specifically in the health domain. So he's sort of leading the business charge for us. We're a core team of about 5 members.
That's great. That's great. And we've already discussed so much about your future plans and what are your next priorities in the next 3 to 4 months. But if you have to just summarize, what's next for Entitled? What are you looking at? How would you do that?
Sure. So the idea is to to get a deeper share of wallet of everything that the worker spends on, saves on, and invests on. The idea is to be a part of their core financial life. When it comes to spending, saving, and investing, all core activities that any individual might do in their lives, we want to ensure that we are there available in all of these different parts and are able to significantly engage with the workforce that is on our platform. Again, improving their lives, ensuring that they thrive, they are sustainable, are all things that we're trying to do. And all of the products that we look at building, the objective of all of those are just to be able to improve their lives and get them to do better in their lives. So hopefully a lot more of that as we go along, working with the governments, but also directly engaging with a lot of these workers. Right, that's the hope and vision of the next few years and the few months.
That's wonderful, Anshul. And while you do your bit, we're going to do ours. And keeping in mind that we will be promoting this video to large enterprises, investors, tech giants, and a broader startup ecosystem. Is there anything else that you would like to put down that could help you find any external assistance that you are looking for? Like, consider this as your call for support.
We keep pitching at entities that deal with workers, because they play a significant role in helping us reach out and connect with workers. So any entity that potentially deals with low income workers in any way, shape, or form, I'm pretty certain that we will have a solution that will help them. One of the other things to note is that while these solutions are being built for workers, entities that we're associated with see a significant improvement in all of their workforce output, right? So they'll see better retention, better recruitment, better engagement, and any other productivity metric that they track. Because the workers are doing better, they will see a significant improvement with it as well. So we'd love to be able to connect with any entity that deals with workers. They do not necessarily need to be in the thousands. Even if someone's associated with 100, we're happy to sort of engage with them, associate with them, build a use case so that they can benefit as much as the workers are benefiting as well. So would love any entities that are dealing with workers to come in and reach out to us.
I'll be really waiting to hear about your next milestones, actually, right here on Follow Startups, and I hope we can have those conversations. So before we wrap this up, Anshul, I've prepared 5 quick questions for a rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So question number
ask me.
one, a book that you would like to recommend that has greatly influenced your career.
I'm not reader to begin with.
Okay.
The only books I've read is because we've been traveling, and now that I travel, I have to read some. But I love some of the mafia books in Bombay. Nothing that I would recommend for everyone to read, but I'm just fascinated by the topic. But on the other side, Steve Jobs' biography is something that I've
Yeah.
read, and Sachin Tendulkar's biography are sort of two books that I absolutely loved reading.
Question two, which productivity tool or app do you find most helpful in your daily tasks?
So I use notes a lot. Apple has this notes app that I use to note down everything that is pending on me. One of the things that I've learned is it's extremely stupid if you try and remember every damn thing that you want to do. Right. So I literally note down everything that I'm even thinking. It's on it, even if I might want to come back to it in 6 months and just think through again of what I was thinking 6 months back. So notes is something that I use extremely extensively.
That makes the two of us. Okay, question number three. A fun fact about you that most people don't know yet.
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm a absolute football buff. Right.
Oh.
While people who would look at me would think that he's only working and not doing anything else. I check out football news practically every 2 hours a day in the day, and it's
Okay.
just something that I'm addicted to. Especially when the season gets over. There's transfer news happening as to which player is going from what club to the other. I just keep doing that.
So who's your favorite player?
So Arsenal is my favorite team. Arsenal has this player called Martin Odegaard, who's my favorite right now. And I really support the team through the season. Yes, I ensure that there's no match that I'm missing. Late nights, all of that. But those are crucial.
Okay. Question number that wasn't a question, that was just my curiosity. So question number
Sure.
four. What is your favorite quotation or mantra that you live by? Any quote that you like?
So the mantra is just keep at it. Right. I strongly believe in it that if you're after the problem and you continue to stay the path and keep pushing at it, it'll happen. Right. And I really swear by it every day. I do not think beyond 2 or 3 days now. Right. So for me, everything about tomorrow is sort of the most important thing. And I don't care about any no's, any rejections that come in. I do not even think about them as rejections. I would tend to keep doing my bit and not worrying about the results of what happens on the other end of it. And that's really helped my mental state of mind. I've been doing this for the past year or so now. It's really helped my state of mind because I'm able to do my best and put in my best effort without really caring about what happens beyond that.
Last but not the least, so there's a saying that don't tell me who you are, just tell me what brands you use. So I want you to describe yourself with the names of just three brands.
Everything on top will be Zara or H&M. Everything on the foot will be Nike.
Awesome. Okay, one last question. How are you? How are you feeling? I hope this was worthy of your time.
No, this is good, yeah. It's always nice catching up. Takes you a little bit away from work for the time being.
Yeah,
So it's been fun, Ankita. Thank you so much.
that's wonderful. Here's to Entitled, and may your vision continue to inspire and uplift countless lives. All the very best.
Thank you so much. Pleasure speaking with you, Ankita. Take care.
If you'd like to stay updated with the latest developments and business insights at Entitled, you can follow their channel on follow.us/startups. And to feature your startup, you can reach out to me at ankita.bhava@follow.us. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you in the next one.